Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smarts, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smarts has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be re-lent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a micro-lender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Well, today I'm speaking to Dr. Mohammad Farivar. He's the author of It IBS or Your Diet? He is a board-certified gastroenterologist with decades of experience unraveling the complexities of digestive health. With a passion for educating patients, he helps people take control of IBS symptoms through science-backed practical dietary and medical strategies. Dr. Farivar, how are you?
I am fine. How are you, Mr. Leonard, Dr. Leonard? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, I just want to say this before we get started. When we first talked and I thought about this topic and I kind of related it to, when someone's going through massive health issues, it can really impact their productivity. And so, again, my podcast is focused on productivity smarts. In other words, science-based processes and things that's going to help you to become the best of yourself. So today, we're going to be talking about an area that you normally wouldn't find on a productivity conversation, which is IBS and your gut. But I think once we're done and when you get the information that you're going to get from Dr. Farivar, because he has an amazing book, you're going to be really grateful and share this podcast with anyone who's struggling with IBS in their gut that's keeping them from being their best. Now, before we get started, I always have a couple of questions for my guests. And so one of the questions is, Dr. Farivar, what is your favorite style of music? Because I'm a musician, so I have to know.
The jazz music.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, why
jazz?
Jazz?
And blue, followed by country.
Okay.
So that's...
Excellent. I get it. Jazz followed by country because, there's storytelling, there's emotions, there's engagement. Do you have a favorite artist?
Indeed. And with my background of where I'm coming from,
okay.
Originally, I think that music basically penetrates my soul.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So that's the style of music that I like.
Well, listen, obviously you have your MD, you are a medical doctor, you're a practicing doctor, you have years of experience, but obviously when you were born, you didn't come out that way. And so, you went through a journey to find your passion and your craft. What is it about you that brought you down this road and has helped you to become successful to write a book to help your patients?
So this is true that I think we are all born with a mission. God Almighty brought us all here to have something to do. And even though I come from a small town back in Iran, When I was 5, I knew I want to be a doctor, and I don't know why. And nobody in my family was a doctor, and nobody that I knew around was a doctor.
Oh, wow.
So you're right. And I had a difficult road with a lot of blocks and stumbling blocks, basically, that I had to conquer in order to become a doctor first,
Yes.
then to come to this country, then to become a gastroenterologist. So it's been a hard road, but always associated with pleasure, even though it was hard.
Yes.
Because I think that that's what I was meant to be. So why I wrote this book? I have been in practice for 50 years.
Oh, wow.
In the GI practice. I've been a doctor for 55 years. In a few months, I'll be 80. So in all those years, I have seen a lot of patients that have come to me, thousands of patients in Boston area that they have come to me as a gastroenterologist with chief complaint of having irritable bowel syndrome.
Yes.
To the point that some people have changed their jobs, they have
Yep.
quit their jobs,
Yep.
they have quit their social life,
Yep.
and so forth because of different issues associated with irritable bowel syndrome. And I saw that these people have been treated really all differently
Yes.
by different doctors and different institutions and different people. And they had no answer. And they have done everything that they've been told, from taking also the medications and probiotics and symbiotics and so forth, to going to chiropractors and yoga and other alternative psychotherapy and so forth. And they were still having problems.
Right.
And in my practice, I was able to find the cause of their problem really in more than 90% of the cases. And the cause was most of the time more than one.
Yeah.
And so I decided that, okay, enough is enough. 1 week I saw 2 patients that they came to me. One of them was a school superintendent,
Okay.
a lady that was riding her bike to work every day. And she was telling me that she has had 4 colonoscopies. 3 times she's been tested for gluten to see if she has gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, endoscopies and CT scans. And she gets diarrhea and she, takes Uber instead of public transportation if she needs to go to some place.
Right.
And also is afraid to go to parties and see her friends and so forth because of this problem of bloating, gas, and uncontrollable things, that pain that she gets, and she has to run to the bathroom. So I asked her, so what's your diet? What do you eat?
Right.
And this was the first question, because I knew this is where the problem is.
Right.
Because they have already done everything and everything has been negative, but no one ever asked her what his diet is. And come to realize that she was a vegetarian, and the last 10 years or so, she has been a vegetarian, and she rides her bike and she is worried about her health. And she eats a lot of good food that we are already healthy food. And that was the cause of her problem. So I said, this is where your problem is. Yes, I don't tell you don't eat it. I am telling you stop eating these for 1 week. But if your problem goes away, then we know this is what your problem is. And then we can reintroduce the food that you're eating back slowly. And she did that, and she comes and calls me, and I still have her letter. And she's a very nice young lady, middle-aged lady. She told me that I can't believe it, that I have none of those symptoms, and nobody ever asked me about my diet. This was the first case.
Yes.
The second case, a lady comes, and she's a dental hygienist.
Okay.
And she told me that she gets those episodes of severe cramps, and 3 or 4 times she has lost controls when she was taking care of patients and couldn't hold herself. And because of this, she has quit her job and become a real estate agent. She says, I'm making more money now being a real estate agent, but I had to quit my job because of that.
Right.
And in her case too, again, her IBS was mostly diet related. So these 2 was the reason that I decided that, okay, I've seen enough of this issue in the last 50 years.
Right.
I see what is going on with doctors, basically, of lack of their knowledge and about the relation between diet and IBS, and not asking patient questions and not doing tests to find out, tests that is easy to find out, and not doing any of those things. So that was the reason that I decided to write this book.
Now, I have to ask you this because when I looked at your picture and I'm looking at you now as we're doing this video or our conversation and interview, you don't look 80 years old.
Thank you. You're very kind.
I was like, okay, he looks like he's about 60 years old, maybe 65. But I would never have pinpointed and said, oh, he's 80 years old.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Not at all. And the fact that you are just as sharp as you are and as passionate as you are about helping people, says a lot about having a mission life, a life based on mission, but just having a job. And so I think that's something that we can all walk away with as a lesson there, that when we have that what we get to do with our vocation is our mission, right? That it gives us much more energy in life, and it's something that we live for because we know we're making a difference.
Indeed. This is a mission of mine, really. And on my website, there's a website, it's called the same name as the book, Is It IBS or Your Diet.com. If people go on that website, they can get the book, they can read the book for free. So I am not trying to sell the book. It's not important for me at all.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is get to the people that, listen, don't run around with your problem and carry it and keep going from one doctor to another, because they're almost all the same. I'm sorry to say that. They all are interested in doing an endoscopy, colonoscopy, CAT scan. Okay, everything is fine. Your blood test is fine. A stool test is fine. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You have IBS. Live with it. And this is a prescription. If you have pain, take this. If you have diarrhea, take this. If you have constipation, take this. And they send them on their way. Right. And this is absolutely not the way it should be.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not the way it should be. Patients should know that is their diet. They should first go off lactose, off high FODMAP food, which they can access it on the internet to see what high FODMAP food is, and then gradually reintroduce. And then if they continue to have problem, they should go and see a doctor.
Yes.
And when they see a doctor, the first thing that they should ask, if the doctor wants to do colonoscopy, endoscopy, and so forth, once maybe if there is a reason, because you need to, the IBS symptom, which is bloating, stomach cramps, gas, diarrhea, constipation, is caused by many different reasons. In my book, there is 42 different reasons for all these symptoms. Yeah. Okay, so you first have to rule out what is serious, so the doctor should know. And if this has been ruled out once, then you don't really need to go through these things again.
Right.
Go on the diet, try to figure that out, try to find out if you're lactose intolerant.
Yes.
Which most people in the world are. More than half the people in the world are lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And a couple of glasses of milk will do them real harm in terms of symptoms, not that it causes any other things.
Right.
Bloating, gas, diarrhea, cramping, tenesmus, mucus in the stool, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
So, fructose, like most of us cannot tolerate more than 25 grams of fructose at a time, So you sit down and eat a lot of fruits, or fruits that are high in fructose, like watermelon and apple and pears and those kind of things. Stone fruits, of course you're going to have problem. You're going to have bloating and gas if you eat a lot of it. And at the same time, have ice cream and a piece of pizza that day, and you are a thin frame female that cannot handle a lot of gas in their intestine because there's no space in there.
Right.
You're going to have problem that day. And no matter what you do and what medication you take, this problem will continue. Now, the definition of IBS by Rome criteria is that if you have any of those symptoms that I mentioned, more than 1 day a week in the past 3 months, out of 6 months, you have IBS. So this is such a ridiculous thing. That means that it is a diet induced, because 1 day a week per week in the last 3 months, out of the 6 months. That means there are food that sometimes you eat and sometimes you don't eat. There are days that we eat this kind of foods and days that we don't eat. We don't eat pizza.
Right.
And, have ice cream and a couple of bottle of beer, sitting with friends and so forth every day. But we could do that on the weekend watching, ball games. So that doesn't make it IBS. That makes it my diet that's doing it. Once I know that put my mind at ease. I know I don't have a disease. I know this is not going to interfere with my life. I know this is the result of eating good food and healthy food.
Yes.
So what I need to do, I need to adjust what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I need to modify it. So that's all I need to do instead of running from here to there. Now, in terms of productivity that you were talking about, I
Yes.
talk a lot. Anytime you want to stop me.
You're good. I got some questions for you, but I really like what you're saying. So I'm listening and I'm learning.
So in terms of productivity, it used to say, I read one paper some times ago that after cold and upper respiratory infections and viruses, IBS is the second most common cause of loss of productivity and work absenteeism.
Oh, wow.
Because people get stomach pain, diarrhea, cramping, and so forth, don't go to work. And also patients who, quote unquote, they have IBS, they spend a lot more. Average person spend $11,000 a year on healthcare costs.
Right.
IBS patients spend about $19,000 a year.
So it's more expensive.
A lot more expensive because you think you have a problem and you keep going from one doctor to another. Right. And then gradually you become anxious.
Yeah.
And even to the point of sometimes becoming psychotic.
Yeah.
Then you think everything else is wrong with you. Now I have cancer here and cancer there, and you see this doctor and that doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you buy this probiotic and that probiotic and this diet and that diet to no avail. So,
well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
So, amazing stories and amazing information, and you started touching on productivity, and then you started touching on when things are going bad around this area, that you start developing a psyche of, oh, it could be this, or it could be cancer, or it could be this, or it could be that. That's basically adding a lot more stress. Now, based on our current environment, and I think it's always this way in the world, somewhere in the world, that we're under stress, right? So whether you live in this country, you live in the Middle East, or in Africa and Asia, there's always something that's going on that's creating stress.
Right.
So how does stress affects the body that impacts IBS?
Okay, so stress, basically what it does, it just makes our intestine to be more active.
Okay.
Especially if you're stressed out, you have a cup of coffee too, which is going to add to it. And we are going to, because we're stressed, we're going to keep eating a small amount constantly to put ourselves at ease. And all of those things make our gastrointestinal system motility to become more active. And once this happens, the food, even the regular food, not high FODMAP food, and I'm not talking about lactose containing stuff if you're eating, but even the regular food doesn't have enough time to stay in our intestine and gets digested and absorbed. And all of those that they haven't been digested, the carbohydrate, they go into large intestine, and large intestinal microbiome, the bacteria, they ferment all these carbs that they haven't been absorbed. And all these carbs, they produce hydrogen and carbon dioxide and methane. And those things, and short-chain fatty acid. Short-chain fatty acids are very good for us and the best thing for our immunity and our health and our psyche and everything else. So they produce all of those things. And then we're going to get bloated, and we're going to get gas, and we're going to have a stomach pain. So stress can cause this by enhancing motility. The second thing is that stress could be the result of all these symptoms, that we have these symptoms that are normal and we don't know what it is. So we become stressed.
Yes.
And we have gone to this doctor and did everything. And he sent me to another guy and he is doing the same thing again. And I'm still having the same problem.
Right.
So that creates stress. And they say, okay, go, you're a stressed person. Go and go to yoga, find yourself, or whatever they do. So stress is a double-edged sword, and it could have effect primarily, or it could be a secondary factor.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. Let me ask you this. What role does gut health play in energy levels, focus, and mental clarity throughout the workday when you're dealing with some of these things? Just your gut health.
I think that a lot of research is being done right now.
Okay.
About intestinal microbiome, the bacteria that are in our intestine, and it's considered the largest. Our colon or intestinal tract is considered the largest immune system in our body. the largest immune system in our body.
Okay.
And our microbiome are, I think that 10,000 times or something is I don't know it exactly, of the bacteria or the number of cells that is in our body. A lot of bacteria that they live there, that they have been with us, is like our fingerprint, and they're specific to every person. The bacteria are.
The bacteria.
And the probiotics basically are good bacteria that are in our system, that their job is to ferment the food that we don't have enzyme to digest. So there are a lot of carbohydrates that we have no enzyme to digest. And the FODMAP comes from their fermentable oligo, monosaccharide, and polyols. They are carbohydrates that are in these kind of foods that they do enzyme to digest. So they go to the intestine, and God created them, those carbohydrates. So there'll be food for these bacteria in our intestine. The bacteria that eat them, and they produce short-chain fatty acid and vitamins, and then as a result, serotonins that communicate to our brain. So it enhances our immunity, butyric acid and so forth, the short-chain fatty acid. Right. They enhance immunity. They're good for intestinal cells, and they make us feel good.
Right.
They're antidepressant, basically. So you eat yogurt every day, you live longer, you are healthier, and you are happier as the result. Especially probiotic yogurt. Probiotic yogurt. Any yogurt. Because you need at least 3 bacteria to turn milk into yogurt, 3 probiotic bacteria. But right now, I have seen Chobani and Greek yogurt. They have up to 7 probiotic bacteria in there, and they're excellent. So people go and buy like these probiotics, which I don't believe at all. I tell people, you're wasting your money. You buy 1 bacteria, they say 10 billion or something bacteria per gram in that pill or that capsule. And that you don't even know if it's going to survive the gastric acid and enzymes in the intestine. Whereas you can have a small Activia yogurt a day or twice a day, especially with fruit. It tastes good too. Yeah. Gives you a lot of probiotic, is very good, and is good for your health. So our gut health is very important.
Actually, you just taught me something, because I take probiotics, but I do have yogurt in my house.
Okay, good.
My wife, we've added yogurt to our diet. And so, I can't see I eat yogurt every day, but after this conversation, yogurt is becoming a part of my daily diet.
Yeah, and forget about probiotics, because that is really waste of your money, because that's not comparable with what you get from a tablespoonful of yogurt.
Oh, wow. That would not be on a commercial for a probiotic, right?
Of course it's not. I look at the internet every day.
Yeah.
Not every day, sometimes. To see what's going on. And I see every day there are new probiotics and combination of probiotics.
Yes.
And prebiotics and symbiotics. And they are really milking this issue.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nobody there to tell them that these are really useless. Don't waste your money.
Right.
And nobody, and if I want to talk about on podcasts that they get commercial from these things, they won't let me, because they read my book and they see what it says, and they don't want to hear that.
Right.
Because this is $1 billion market.
It is.
Okay, it's $1 billion market. Last year, $30 billion was spent on, I think, IBS in this country.
30 billion.
Combination of healthcare plus people that they pay is a lot of money. And now companies even big drug companies are getting into it, and they are advertising. I have seen advertising medication for IBS constipation, for IBS this, IBS that, on TV, on national TV. They're advertising because there's money in it.
Right. No, they're not really solving the problem. They're just addressing the symptom.
Right. At least they say 7 out of 10. 1 out of every 7 people in this country, they complain of having symptom of IBS.
Right.
Okay, 1 out of 7. There's 50 million. Okay, so you get to at least even 1 million of these people every day. You made a lot of money.
Yeah.
For no reason. And of course, so the antibiotic that they recommend, for example, and they are advertising, Okay, what that is going to do, that's going to kill the probiotics in your intestine. So when you eat high FODMAP food, there is not enough probiotic to produce gas and fermentation. So you feel better. But the reason you feel better because they have destroyed those bacteria that you needed for fermentation, that they were good for your health.
Right.
Is that because they have done anything to your IBS? So they advertise IBS diarrhea, take such and such medication. I don't want to name it at this here. Take this medication, which is very expensive. Okay, and of course you take this medication, you're going to feel better. Oh, I don't have gas bloating, blah, blah. I'm eating the same food. They don't even know there's the food that's causing it. But I don't have it. But they don't know the reason for it is that they kill the bacteria that was good for you, that was fermenting and getting out of this nutrient, out of these vegetables and fruits and everything else, the nutrients that it wasn't get absorbed, but your body needs it. And these bacteria were doing the job.
Now it's just passing it through.
Passing it through. Exactly.
Without getting the nutrients from the food and without creating any issues. So you think you're doing better, but you're actually being depleted of the nutrients that you need.
Right. And Big Pharma and the doctors, who are famous and have made name for themselves with the help of Big Pharma, they are promoting these kind of things. They are promoting it. They're writing papers. They're giving lectures. They're going everywhere because there's a lot of money in this. And what I'm trying to do is basically educate people about this, if I can. I don't know. I'm going to.
I think we're on to something as far as educating people. So, because we get a lot of people that listen to this podcast, and I'm praying that they will listen to this episode and really pay attention to what you're saying, because there are a lot of people that I know that have experienced IBS to some form or fashion, and you're right. You're told probiotics. You're told this. You're told that. But you're not given the reasons why, or you're not understanding the total implications of everything. Now, you mentioned something earlier. It's FODMAP, FODMAP.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more about that? But how can you explain the impact of a low FODMAP diet compared to a high FODMAP diet?
Okay. FODMAP basically is fermentable oligosaccharide. Oligosaccharide means that the sugars that are from 3 to 10 sugar attached to each other.
Okay.
Monosaccharide, 1 sugar, disaccharide, 2 sugar. Those that they don't get absorbed, and they're in all sort of fruits, vegetables, grain, legumes, dairy products.
Right.
Okay, they're in all of those. And so the ones that are high in those things, we don't have enzyme in our intestine to digest them to get absorbed, because the sugars have to get absorbed with 1 sugar. You cannot have 2, 3, or 4 sugar attached to each other. They don't get absorbed.
Right.
So the things that doesn't get absorbed, they travel from our small intestine into the large intestine. And the bacteria in large intestine ferments them to produce energy, to produce calorie. Let me explain this. The rumen in cow is in front, right? In ruminate.
Right.
The rumen is in front. So in other words, their large intestine is in front of their digestive system. All the bacteria is there. So what they do is that they can eat things that we can't digest, but they can digest it because the bacteria in the rumen is digesting all of these things. And that's why they say cows are the major source of methane in the world, in their breath. Right. Because what cows are doing is they're fermenting all this grass that they eat. Okay? And the grass that they eat is producing calorie. And our large intestine does the same thing. If we eat even grass, our large intestine is going to get calorie out of it by the bacteria that we have.
Okay.
The bacteria are going to ferment it and produce gas, methane, and hydrogen, of course, and also all the other nutrients that we need.
Right.
And calorie out of it. So they salvage the calorie that we lost or we missed through our small intestine. So this is how our large intestine works. Our FODMAP is the part of food that is very good and is all healthy food. I always tell my patient, the more gas you are, the better off you are, the healthier you are, because this means you're eating good food. That you have a lot of good bacteria in your intestine that's fermenting them, that they're doing their job, that you're healthy. Now, if you're complaining and you don't want it, eat less of it.
Right.
And low FODMAP food means food that they don't have as much of those kind of carbohydrates and so forth, vegetables and fruits and legumes and those things. They don't have as much. Okay, they don't have as much. So, but you eat a lot of it, that becomes high FODMAP.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Especially, so if you're a vegetarian and you're eating a lot of it, it kind of has the opposite effect of what you think it's going to be.
Exactly. So, it's okay to have gas, to be bloated. Adjust your diet to the level that you can handle it and you can control it. You can completely go off FODMAP and lactose and be fine, usually.
Right.
And then gradually, one by one, reintroduce the foods and then see how much of what you can tolerate and, just live with that. And don't worry about it. You don't have cancer. Those things don't cause cancer. They help you from preventing cancer.
Well, let me ask you this. You also mentioned in the book, you talk about something called complementary alternative medicines for IBS.
I don't believe in any
what that is and how it works.
Yeah, complementary alternative medicine is what is recommended, and I don't believe in any of it.
Okay.
They're all sort of, once a doctor doesn't have anything else to do and doesn't know what to do with that patient,
right.
Once I've done my colonoscopy and endoscopy and CAT scan and blood tests and stool tests and everything is negative, and given the medication, and it still comes back and say, doctor, I'm taking that medication you gave me, but I still have gas and bloating and this and that.
Right. So it's the doctor.
If I don't know that's your diet, which most doctors don't,
right.
If I don't know that's your diet, I say, well, you got to go and see a psychiatrist. You got to go see acupuncture. You got to go to yoga. You are stressed. Go on vacation. Take probiotic. Take that probiotic. Take this enzyme. Take that enzyme. These are alternative medicine that is recommended for IBS patients.
Right. But it's not dealing with the real issue, which is by the time you've done all those tests,
exactly,
it really is the diet. And it's like what you said in the first example, which is when you told the lady to stop eating what you're eating for a week and see if it corrects things. She did, and it changed her life. Right. Yet she slowly began to introduce things, and she could discover what was causing the problem and what wasn't, stay away from the foods that are causing the problems, and then build her life around the foods that are not causing the problems, that are making her more healthier. So what's really interesting is just, again, it's a lot of information, but you lay it out so beautifully in your book. And obviously you have over 55 years of experience. And I was going to add, one question I was going to ask you is the concept of probiotic, prebiotic, and symbiotic, but we talked about that already and what the differences were. So let me ask you this last question.
One thing I haven't said, which is very important. And that is that it's very easy to find out that what kind of problems you have and what is the trigger for your IBS. And that's doing something called hydrogen breath test. So I'm going to explain it. So once you eat something high in FODMAP or lactose, if you are lactose intolerant, or fructose, if you have fructose intolerance, or inulin, if you are like high FODMAP type of intolerant, if you eat any of those, they get to your large intestine, the bacteria ferments them, produces hydrogen. Hydrogen comes to your breath and out of your breath. And they measure is breath test. If there's more than 20 parts per million hydrogen in your breath, after 3-4 hours of ingesting that means you are intolerant. You haven't absorbed. Now they went to your intestine, and now bacteria is doing its job. So this is what's causing all of your problem. Hydrogen breath test. Hydrogen breath test is very simple to do. You come to the office, for example, you have a glass of milk, or you have a can of Coke. Coke has fructose, Coca-Cola. And then you sit there for 4 hours, and then you breathe into a little machine, and if it goes to 20, this is what your problem is. This is called hydrogen breath test. Now, this is not done in more than 95% of doctors' offices and the hospitals in this country.
Right.
Can you believe that?
So it's called the hydrogen breath test. Is there something that you can do at home? Are there devices that you can do?
There is no devices, but they are working on devices that you could do at home. Now, what it is that there are labs that they do it. The reason, when I was in private practice, I had 2 of these little machines, and Fridays that I didn't work, patients come that they needed those tests for IBS, and they sit there and they get it done, and the receptionist, they give them the things to drink, and then they breathe into this, and if it's 20, you have lactose intolerance, you have fructose intolerance, blah, blah. You go, this is a diet, follow this, you're done. Now, the reason it's not done is because, first of all, it takes 4 hours to do it.
Right.
Okay. And the last I checked, Medicare paid $67.50 for it. Okay. That's how much they pay the doctor for doing that. Of course, nobody's going to do it. So doctors are not doing it. They don't even tell the patient because they're not even hospital. Hospitals don't do it because they need to have a person now sit with this person and do the test and get nothing out of it. They're not going to do it. Nobody's sick. He's just like
the doctors are not actually going to make any money, real money off of it. The patients who are busy are saying, wait a minute, you want me to come and drink this and sit for 4 hours?
Exactly.
I have time for this.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's keeping them from being their best selves because they don't know whether that's becoming an issue or not.
Right. So that's why it's not done. Nobody talks about it. And so because a guy like me, I'd rather go and do a couple of colonoscopies instead of sit and, look at breath tests or do the breath test on patients.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not done. But this is the first thing patients should ask. Anybody who has IBS symptoms and they've had a colonoscopy and they've been to the doctor and the bad things have been ruled out, like cancer and colitis and Crohn's and celiac and those kind of things have been ruled out, they should ask for a breath test. They should demand. And there are places that they do it. Everywhere there are places that they do it. Labs that do it. So breath test, hydrogen breath test is easy to do. Get that done. It'll be 3 or 4 sessions for 3 or 4 different reasons. Because if you remember at the beginning, I said, usually there's more than one reason for IBS.
Right.
Okay. Is it a high FODMAP food? But also could be lactose intolerance. Also could be fructose intolerance. Also could be SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Could be celiac disease. Could be chronic pancreatitis. They all cause maldigestion, and the food may get into the intestine and get fermented and produce all of this. So it could be all of those. So it's important to figure out what it is and take care of it once and for all. So you don't have to deal with disease and with the problem for the rest of your life.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Farivar, where can people get your book? Is it IBS or your diet? And where can they learn more about the work that you're doing?
It's on Amazon. They can get it, and also they can listen to it too. His Audible book of it is available as well, and is very inexpensive. And on my site, on the site that I've created, is it IBS or your diet.com? If they go on that site, they can read it for free. I mean, so it's the idea is to educate people, to know, and to ask the right question and do the right thing for their health and for themselves.
Excellent. Well, Doc, I really appreciate our conversation. It's been extremely engaging. I've learned a ton myself. I have some changes to make.
Yes.
And from reading your book and now having the conversation with you about this, and it's really, really enlightening. I really applaud your mission of making your book available on your website for free, because you're at a place in your life where you really want people to be educated and to help them with this problem, because you see all of the different challenges and issues that go along with it. So I want to thank you for being a guest on the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard. Thank you for the opportunity. And I appreciate knowing you and talking with you.
Excellent. If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, Keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.